In this episode, Golden and I discuss Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Full speed ahead.
The Omega Beam. Full power. The Omega Beam.
Welcome to the Omega Beam number 152. I'm your host, Orrin Merton. So the first Venom movie was a phenomenal hit, and it was inevitable they'd make a second one, especially since the lead actor, Tom Hardy, clearly had a blast playing the role, loved doing it, and wanted to get back into it. So this movie's been out for a while, and we generally try and keep to the spoiler-free in front, spoilers in the back type of organization that we've been doing for a while, but this time we're a little bit looser with it. So let's get started. I am here with Golden to talk about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the sequel to the previous Venom movie, where Tom Hardy showed just how over the top he can be, and it was absolutely amazing. So what did you think of the second one?
I very much enjoyed the first one. I think the second one was good. It just may not have been as delightful as the first. It had its own separate type of charm.
The first one had the advantage of being the very first time you'd ever seen Tom Hardy kind of do that broad, schizophrenic, completely energized character of Eddie Brock and Venom. He plays Venom as well, the voice of Venom. Eddie Brock being basically torn in two and totally confused about what's going on. And the movie itself was a bit more disjointed, but that was a revelation. And the movie was not the greatest reviewed movie, the first one, but everybody, I think, maybe not everybody, but most of the critics, even the ones that did not like the movie, loved Tom Hardy's just going for it. And he clearly loved it too, because Venom, Let There Be Carnage, he co-wrote the story with the screenwriter, Kelly Marcel. So he's a producer on the show. So he was very involved in this movie. And the director, Andy Serkis, is of course the mocap guy if you're doing a lot of motion capture for a special effects movie. He's of course been in Marvel movies as an actor, so he's certainly not new to comic book movies. And the thing about Let There Be Carnage, and like you said, it's a story with its own charm. This is a very contained story. This is a short movie. It's an hour and a half movie. And it really kind of gets in and gets out. It's both a buddy story of Venom and Eddie, and then it's about Carnage. And it just kind of gets in and gets out really fast. It's very tightly edited, and I think that's probably why this movie has been getting good reviews. It's almost twice the reviews numerically. I think it's just hovering in the fresh range on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it used to be over 60, it may have dropped a little, but it's a very tight story. But it is not the kind of broad story that you got in the first one. The first one was really broad in scope.
And you have
this
an
one's
excellent
narrow
cast.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Hardy is just wonderful playing both those parts.
He is.
And then Woody Harrelson, well, I've been a fan of his for a very, very, very long time. If you consider, I think it looks like his first appearance in Cheers was in like 1985.
So it's been a while.
So it's been a very long time that I've been a fan of.
Yeah, and in the extra credit
25 plus years.
Yeah. And in the after credits scene in the first Venom, you met Cletus Cassidy, his character, and it was just a moment, but just kind of the glint of crazy in Woody Harrelson's eye. You knew he would be so fun.
He does crazy very well.
He does.
But yet, if you look back at his career, he's done a wide variety of characters.
Absolutely.
It's not a okay, well, it is Woody Harrelson being Woody Harrelson, but still he himself then is just a very diverse guy.
Yeah, and he was literally the right guy. I mean, there are some parts where an actor takes a particular role and you think that is the guy. And part of it's because, he's a talented actor and he can play a role that he's given. And part of it is, as you said, there's a natural, there's just a sort of natural affinity for that part. And he absolutely was able to play that kind of swaggering, self-involved crazy in a way that was both fun and completely believable. One of the things about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, this was all the Venoms, really. I mean, the Venom one, but Let There Be Carnage as well. These are unapologetically comic movies. These are absolutely as colorful, and they pop like the page. And you get that kind of wacky comic story, and it doesn't really worry about it. We're going to ground this in reality or whatever else. This is escape. This is a popcorn movie. This is a comic movie. It is done incredibly well. And, if you go in expecting Shakespeare, I don't think you're going to get the movie you were hoping for. But if you go in expecting a really fun roller coaster that will make you feel like you are literally watching a comic come to life from the page, this is it. I mean, it's just really well done. I mean, everybody involved did a wonderful job. I think the people who loved it for what it was, and I think a lot of the people who didn't love it, it's because they were expecting, maybe because Marvel is doing more sort of quote-unquote serious movies and things like that. Maybe they were expecting this to be more like that. But no, everything doesn't need to be the MCU 24-part saga. Sometimes you can literally just have a 90-minute fun ride.
And then you tie it into that 24 whatever, saga.
Right, and then you tie it in, as is done. I guess we didn't really say spoilers or not spoilers. I guess we can just...
It's been out for a little while.
It has been out for a while, so I feel we're okay.
I think we're okay too. At this point, there may be spoilers ahead.
Yeah, and so I wanted to specifically talk about the fact that Sony would love Venom to be part of the greater MCU. And I don't know if they can really do that without Marvel's express permission. However, they do own Spider-Man. So while they can't explicitly say Venom is in the MCU, they can say he's in the Spider-Verse, which is pretty much what they did in the after credits scene. So I think they did it in a smart way. They did it in a fun way. I think that we'll see where it goes. They may honestly not even know where it goes from here. So they may just have kind of put it in the way they did, thinking, well, let's see. Let's see where it comes from here. Some people are now suggesting that maybe Venom is going to show up in an MCU movie, or maybe in Sony's MCU movies. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I honestly have no idea. But I do like Venom as a character.
And they drew on just a little bit from that first movie.
Yeah.
A couple of the characters, the shop owner, having fun with her, having fun with his ex and her boyfriend or fiance or however you want to. And the fact that Venom is still hung up on her, sure, which is cute.
Yeah. And I will say one of the things, again, like I said, this is not a movie that I'm going to tear apart for its stellar script or anything. I did enjoy the script, and I did think the story was really tight. But it is a comic book story. But I did think one thing was done well, in that the first movie explains that these symbiotes, unless they happen to find a, genetic match, they cannot live in a person for long. And so they'll end up either killing that person or basically put him in a coma, and they'll have to escape the body, etc. So they explain that in the first movie, both info dump and we watch it happen numerous times. That is a plot element in this one, because when Venom leaves Eddie, he goes through a number of bodies, but they can't sustain him very long. But I like the fact that rather than telling us again, they just show it. They say, okay, we told you last time. So those of you who've seen the movie, you don't need to be told that again. And those of you who haven't seen the first one, we're just going to show it to you, and you'll get it. And I thought that was good. And we do see him use people up, if you will, and escape to another body in the last minute. But I think it does sort of emphasize that Venom and Eddie need each other. And, that
they do.
Yeah.
Eddie doesn't want to admit it, and Venom doesn't want to really admit it.
Right.
And they play on that.
Yeah, both are personalities that think they're in charge. And in truth, they really have to have a symbiotic relationship, because without it, neither one is going to do all that well. And I do like the fact that both in the first movie and in this movie, they do make sure that the Michelle Williams character, Anne, is not a pushover. That she is able to stick up for herself, speak for herself, do things for herself. She was a little bit used as bait, I guess, would you say, in this one? She was a little bit of the damsel in distress. That was at the end, and the rest of her appearances were not that way. So I do appreciate that, because it is just, in my opinion, a tired trope to make the one you're pining after the damsel in distress. They did do it in this one. It's kind of a shortcut, but at least for the prior hour of the hour and a half movie, she was not that kind of person. So I appreciated that.
Yeah, I think it's a fun movie, and it's worth the 90 minutes, definitely.
Yeah. Also wanted to bring up, the business angle. That the first movie, some people have been writing that it was a surprise hit. It wasn't a surprise hit in the sense that they thought it wouldn't be a hit. It was just a surprise that it was as big of a hit. They all thought it would make money, but no one thought it would make nearly $1 billion. So this one has made about half that, which on the one hand isn't as much, but on the other hand, there's a pandemic and a lot of people stayed home. So the fact that it made as much as it did, that's pretty impressive. And the studio has been just gangbusters about how well this franchise did and how well Andy Serkis did in directing this second installment. So I don't know what Sony's plans are as far as their Spider-Verse goes. I know they have a Morbius movie coming up soon. Of course, Spider-Man is coming out this month. And they've already said that they do plan another trilogy of Spider-Man movies after this. So with Tom Holland. So I don't know where that puts Venom. If we're going to start seeing Venom showing up in Spider-Man movies and not his own movies, or both, or neither, or they're going to have like sort of joint movies. I don't know. But I do like the character. I think Tom Holland, I've only read the character a few times in the comics, and it was like, okay. I mean, I remember way back when Venom was literally just Spider-Man's new suit. And it was always, okay.
Well, that's what they played around with in Tobey Maguire's movies.
Yeah.
Which I don't think you ever saw.
I didn't see the third one where Venom was in it. But I really liked the way they did it, and the character of Eddie Brock in these movies with Tom Hardy. I think Tom Hardy really nailed something. He obviously has a feeling for it because he's so involved, and I really hope they continue as long as he wants to do it. As long as he has the interest in it and the movies are still fun, I hope they keep doing. Well, thank you, Golden.
You're welcome.
And that's it for this episode. You can find the show notes at theomegabeam.com/152. If you liked this episode, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It's your reviews who help people who like this stuff find our podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions, please drop us a line at info@theomegabeam.com. Be good to yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you next time.
The Omega Beam. Full stop.